What's up, guys? This is The Quad with Chris Young. As always, I am Chris. We have Haley the Bear.
That's me.
Ryan from Miami.
Who's sitting next to me?
Producer Josh.
If I'm going to lose my seat to anyone, I am glad it is this guy right here. Close enough.
He's in charge. He's in charge of all the buttons.
And I get to play with all of it today.
And my buddy, the amazing talent, one of the people that inspired me to be a country artist, Mr. Tracy Lawrence.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
It's good to finally be here. I know we got backtracked a little while. The last time I was supposed to be here, came down with some throat issues.
You've had a lot going on, man.
You know, it's and really and truly coming out of COVID, it's really been a struggle to kind of get back in the groove. And I've had some throat issues and been to the doctor and got my allergy medicine all adjusted and all that crap. So hopefully I'm back on track. But the workload has been tremendous, and I'm sure you know that too.
Yeah, man.
We're working our tails off.
It's I'm very, very happy to be back to normal.
Yeah, you can call it that.
Ish.
Yeah, it's still different, but it's a lot better than what it was.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, the biggest thing for me is just being back out there on the road. I just came back from not being here for a couple weeks entirely, which is very odd, not being home.
Oh yeah.
Because I've gotten so used to being here all the time.
Where'd you go?
We were kind of like middle of the country, Denver, South Dakota, and then went out West Coast. Had a couple weeks out in California.
West Coast still a little weird.
No, it's everything's kind of back to normal.
Cool,
which is great.
Well, I just got back from Italy.
I was going to ask about this.
I had one show in Switzerland on the 25th of June, and then we
was
went.
It Gstaad?
It was not Gstaad. It was Interlaken. So I was there with the Bellamy Brothers, a great little festival. But it was the same group of people that do Gstaad.
Yeah.
So we went over on the 19th, and I took my wife and kids, and we started in Italy. We just went to Switzerland for 3 days, and then we came back out and spent my daughter's 21st birthday in Milan on the 27th of June, and then we went to Venice and to Florence and all through there, and finished up in Rome for 3 days.
I was about to say, you look well rested in vacation.
Let me tell you, you walk a lot in Italy.
On my 21st birthday, I'm not kidding. I was re-recording a vocal for my first record, and I went to Toots in Murfreesboro.
I think I spent mine drinking beer on a gravel road.
I was not in Milan. I can say that for sure.
I was at the Applebee's in Castle Rock, Colorado. So Applebee's.
Bear?
Date night.
Where were you?
On my 21st birthday?
Yeah.
I was being carried out at midnight from Hell at the Moon in Orlando.
All right. I like that.
It was buy one, get one, everything.
I get it.
No.
From the...
There it is.
It's from the headphones.
Josh's headphones are imploding. I didn't realize we were that broke. So we can get new headphones.
You know, if Core Water wants to sponsor us and send us some money,
anybody wants to send us free
headphones, Audio Technica, we love you. If you'd like to send us some stuff.
I will also say, I think second to your daughter, I think I've had the second best 21st birthday experience. I turned 21 on Duval Street in Key West at what is now known as the Smokin' Tuna is where I turned 21.
That sounds like a party right there.
Wow.
And no alcohol was consumed.
Zero.
At all.
Zero.
Super
It's actually pretty funny because I had gone into Irish Kevin's a couple days before and used a different form of identification. To all the officers listening to this, thank you for not taking me in. But then when I turned 21, I went back and the guy goes, this is actually you now. And I said, yes, it is, sir. I'm here to have my first legal beverage.
We at the Quad do not condone or support
we do not condone
any sort of
or
underage drinking or fake
drinking of any
IDs.
kind.
Thank you.
So how old were you when you had your first drink?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Let's just go.
Hey, Josh, who won the poll?
It turns out you can eat food at any moment of any day of any month. The fireworks are specifically for the 4th of July, and fireworks beat.
Yeah. I love that.
When you've seen one fireworks show, you've seen them all. It's boring.
I disagree.
That's not true. Just ask Terry.
Back it up, Terry. So you know Terry Crisp is my steel player, right?
Yeah.
It's I keep
back up, Terry.
Back up, Terry. And I keep saying that to him, and he has no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
He just looks at me real confused.
Yeah, every now and then I have to pull that back up just to refresh myself on how funny that actually was.
If you don't know what we're talking about, just type in "back up, Terry" into your browser of choice.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
funny.
Oh Lord.
Merch.
Yeah, it's up for pre-order right now. We have a military-style green T-shirt that says Quad Pod Squad, and we have a turquoise racerback tank top that is Quad Pod Squad.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what
any of those words mean, but
you're a boy.
they look cool.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I'm a dude.
And anyway,
We got shirts.
Yeah,
Go get 'em.
The tanks.
You can now rep that you are part of the Quad Pod Squad. But the pre-sale will go through Wednesday, and then Thursday morning I'll be placing the order. You could still order it, but they'll just be limited stock.
Okay, so you asked when was the first time that I had a drink.
21, of course.
No, but I am definitely an anomaly. I never drank in high school. I was not
Really?
Because my parents always told me, they were like, "Hey, we don't want you to drink before you're supposed to, but if you ever do,
Do it with us.
call us and we'll come get you."
Okay.
And so I had a very, very, and still do, very close relationship with my dad, who's technically my stepdad, but my dad, my mom, and if you ask my sister, she'd say the same thing. So does Dot. We never felt like there was any sort of pressure for us to go do it, and so we didn't.
Kind of removes the rebellious part.
Yeah, it kind of it does. It removes
When
that
your
a
mom and
little
dad
bit,
are like, we know you're going to, so just call us. You're like, well, now that's no fun. I want to
Yeah.
sneak around and almost die in a field from too much performance.
even in college, not really. I can tell you when I was 20, and I was fronting the house band at Cowboys in Arlington, Texas, opening for the guy sitting to my left. Then I was drinking. Yeah, dude. I opened for you on New Year's with Sean Bailey, fiddle player. Yeah. Sean was my roommate. He was the fiddle player down there. This is before he moved to town and started playing fiddle for Chestnut and everybody. And I was the front guy of the house band at Arlington, Texas.
That was a wild little place.
Yeah, it's gone now, man. It makes me so sad.
There's a lot of those places that are gone. The one that in Kennesaw, it's closed up now too. I had a lot of good memories from the Cowboys franchise.
You couldn't jump on stage at the Kennesaw one. The ceiling was too low.
Yeah, it was a little bit different.
If you were wearing a cowboy hat, you'd hit the ceiling.
It was still fun, but there's a few of those places that are gone. The ones down in San Antonio is still there.
The San Antonio is still there, yeah. The one in Dallas proper is still there. Red River.
So I hadn't played it in years, man. It's a tiny little place, but the last time I played it, it was like slam packed so bad that you couldn't even move in the place. It's such a tiny little place. There were some good ones though. Yeah, the one in Arlington was my favorite. Yeah.
Is the yellow one music?
Yellow one's bare. It's underneath.
Yeah, that's where we just gotta go down the list.
Second up from the bottom left.
Music.
Our brains work the same way. Our brains work the same way. All right. So getting into this. First and foremost, I'm just going to tell everybody else. If you haven't gone and checked it out, Hindsight 2020 Volume 3, Angelina, which came out in January. I know it's the first track, but even going through all of it, didn't we?
Oh man, what a great record! That's been in my publishing catalog for a long time. Rick Huckabee was one of the co-writers on it, and he wrote for my publishing company for several years. And I actually did the demo on that thing and sent it to McGraw. It sounded like a perfect McGraw record, and McGraw came so close to cutting that song, and just right at the end, he didn't take it in the studio with him. But I had to cut it because it kind of reminds me of an old Bryan Adams song. It kind of took me back to high school. It's got that old classic rock feel to it, and I just loved it. It's
cool, man. Definitely go check this record out. You touch on a lot of, obviously, Hindsight 2020 being you looking back at your career, and just as somebody that's a fan, and that also knows you, it's wild to me because I am such a fan of these songs, and especially for me, Texas Tornado is still always going to be one of my favorites,
Great
man.
record, man. That was a great record. It really was. You know, I didn't really want to record that song. You know, that was one of those things that was kind of a negotiation between me and the label. Rick Blackburn, the head of Atlantic at the time, was really high on that song. Braddock wrote it by himself. Is one of those things that Braddock wrote, and so we had to barter a little bit. The Maverick movie was coming out, and I got an opportunity to do a track on the Maverick record. And so my angle was, you let me produce the track on the Maverick record, and I'll cut Texas Tornado. So I produced Renegades, Rebels, and Rogues, and then I got to produce Texas Tornado and 2 of the things on the next album. So I was trying to move forward.
That's awesome.
So it was a negotiation tactic, and turned out to be a big record.
Well, I mean, that's, to me, one of the things that's not always, I guess, as important for songwriters, but for me is really cool is when a second verse almost beats the first verse.
Oh, man.
It's the best feeling in the entire world.
Dude, you're lying with me in Atlanta, such a beautiful lie. I mean, just that. I don't know why I'm singing to Tracy Lawrence.
We're all better for it.
Dude, because technically it's, you're lying with me in Atlanta, such a beautiful lie. All right, I'm done. I can die happy now.
That's it. We're done. We're done. We're
All
out.
right, cool. That's gonna end up on
so-
so many TikToks being duetted. I like that.
So just so I can promote my deal a little bit, that was the third in a trilogy. So last year we celebrated my 30th anniversary. I cut Sticks and Stones in May of '91.
Wow.
So there were 3 albums in the Hindsight 2020 collection. The first one is called A Stairway to Heaven, Highway to Hell, that I wrote with Craig Wiseman.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was called Price of Fame, and I did a duet with that with Eddie Montgomery on that second album. And the third compilation is Angelina. So there was 3 albums with 10 songs apiece to commemorate that 30th anniversary.
Wow,
That's awesome.
30
awesome.
years.
I know.
How fast has that gone by?
You know, I break it up into sections. There's life before kids, and life after kids.
Well,
Because that's when everything really changes.
you find out who your friends are was always like the high school song of when friendships fell apart. Everyone was quoting that song, posting it on their social medias, singing it, especially the part of town where I grew up in was out in the middle of nowhere. And you'd always hear about someone like having problems in their friendship and they're blasting that song. You found out who you're. I'm like, oh God, you guys, here we go again. They're fighting again? Oh gosh. It was always the anthem of broken friendships.
Well, and I wanted to ask you about that song because that was going to be what I was listening to this week because where did that all birth from? Because every time I hear that song, it reminds me to think of who my true friends are.
You know, I was at the tail end of getting all the music ready for that album, and I had always had a great relationship with Sony Tree, so I'd gone over there and asked him to pull a bunch of stuff out, and that was actually a Casey Beathard song.
Wow.
Casey Beathard and Ed Hill wrote that, and so I loved it so much, and I cut the track, and I got my vocal done, and I was listening to it, proofing, tweaking mixes and stuff, and I thought, you know, Tim and Kenny and I have talked about doing a record together for a long time. And I thought, you know what, if we could find a way to break this up and make a 3-way sing out of it. So I sent them a copy of it. They both loved it. And we wound up just getting the studio together and knocking it out. And, of course, you know, the debacle that came after all that. That was fun times.
Do you want me to go into that or not?
Yeah, come on. Tell it all. It was great.
All right,
That's the highlight of my freaking career.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But this was hilarious because everybody had decided that they weren't going to give single rights to it. So if you drop the record and everybody plays it anyway.
Well, I put 2 versions on the album.
Uh-huh.
I led the album off with the solo version of me, and the trio was just a bonus track at the end of
It's
the
the
album.
bonus track. And if the bonus track is out there and they decide to play the bonus track.
What can you do
then
about it? I have no control.
You can't. Can't really
And then the
stop
cease
it.
and desist letter came.
Oh,
It's a great time.
Yeah, but it's still a number one.
It's still at number 1.
Big old number one.
Great times, man.
You know what, man? Just your career. We could sit here and talk for 30 years about the stuff that you've put out, and obviously, you know, my relationship with James Stroud and how much I love James, and you guys work together, and then Julian as well.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Julian King, who's a phenomenal engineer, producer,
Friend, all of
person,
it.
yeah,
guy.
person in general. Yeah, man. For me, it's always going to be outside of the stuff that I grew up listening to. For me, it's always going to be "Paint Me a Birmingham." What a special song, man!
Really was. and everybody laughs when I say this. When I first heard the song, because it came from DreamWorks Publishing, I thought it was too pop for me.
What?
Yeah, I did.
What?
The demo was very, very pop. It was very piano keyboardish, and
No-
didn't have the mod
no
or anything.
fiddle,
It didn't
no
have any of that
mod.
stuff. And I'm like, I just don't know. But and I kind of lived with it for a little bit. Then when we tracked it, man, and Stroud put that magic on it, you knew it was big. You knew it was going to be a big record.
I mean, that's so weird to hear you say that because
I know.
I can't even imagine that without
yeah.
the fiddle part at the top. Was that Hank?
No,
was
that would have been that was Aubrey. That
okay.
had to be Aubrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because Aubrey's. I've had a couple of
Aubrey
things.
Haney.
Joe Spivey's played on a couple of things along the way over the years, but that was when Stroud when Aubrey came to town. He was pretty much on everything.
We're
'Cause that was
losing
like early
people right now,
2000s.
but we're talking about people that play on the records that
yeah,
we get excited about.
So Aubrey Haney's a fiddle player, and he's one
Yeah.
of the best in town. He's one of the most sought after.
Oh my
but
God.
there's a list of them that have been here, but Aubrey's the guy's so versatile, and he's just got such a magic touch, and he can play things in one pass that make you just go, wow. I mean, he's that guy.
That's the difference for me with like really talented musicians and really talented studio musicians.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is I'm going to give you one pass down and you're going to play a made up part that sounds like something that I've heard a billion times.
Oh yeah, and just go, and then they'll go, oh, but I think I can do it better.
I'm like, no, leave that. Just save that one.
How many
Save that
times
one.
did
Save
that
that one.
happen?
We'll try.
Yeah. Will you go ahead and take another pass? But we're going to save the first one. Yeah, man. Hey, you know what? We never ask anybody this. Like, what is your favorite show story? And it can be good, bad, indifferent. I don't care.
Get your popcorn ready.
What is like the one that you remember that you want to tell in public? Obviously, I'm not asking for anything.
You know, this is one of my biggest memories, and it was '93. Alibis was peaking out on the charts, and I was touring with George Jones. We were in the arena in Greenville, South Carolina, and obviously I was
No big deal.
opening for Jones.
You slid that in there.
I
I was just
know.
touring with George
Totally
Jones. Like,
nonchalantly.
And so packed out arena and everything, and I remember I think Alibis was right up at the top of the charts. I don't know if it'd gone #1 yet, but I remember singing it in the middle of the show, and the place just erupted. And that was before cell phones, and everybody held their freaking cigarette lighter up in the whole building. I mean, it just illuminated. It's just lighters everywhere, and they wouldn't stop yelling. I remember standing on the center of the stage, and I just freaking started crying. I mean, just standing there, just it's one of those things. It's just overwhelming to get that back from everybody. It just moves you. It's something you never forget. Man, that was a special time. That was out with Jones, and he became such a great friend over the years. I mean, those memories are something nobody can ever take away.
That's amazing.
I'm really glad I asked that question. That is so much cooler than anything that I could have expected. Yeah, dude. There's so many memories that I've made, but one person I never got to open for or play for was Jones, and I did an ACM honors event, and they were like, "We want you to do a George Jones medley," and I'm like, "Cool," and they were like, "Well, his widow's in the crowd," and I was like, "Cool, no pressure," and I'm like, "I better not mess this up."
So my favorite Jones story, I met George when he was softer and gentler.
Those are terms
he
to
would
use.
still sneak a little nip every now and then, which Nancy, I'm sure she.
I was going to say, is this after he wrote the book?
Yeah.
And I Live to Tell It All?
It was like in the 90s. One of the things that I respected about George so much is, and I try to take this into consideration at being an artist. I'm kind of at the stage when I'm one of the older artists, and I get up my old catalog play, but we're not even working radio anymore. You think about the early '90s when my group came in. When everything started with the Young Country movement. You know, you've got Haggard and Waylon and Willie and all these guys that have been pretty much icons. Anything they put out, they got played on the radio. And all of a sudden, they wouldn't play their records anymore. And they were mad at us about it. The only one that I never felt that way from was Jones. Jones embraced it. He did I Don't Need No Rocking Chair. Who's Going to Fill Their Shoes? We did all those things. And he took us young kids out on the road. And he made us feel important. And he had another career at that stage of his life when everybody else was bitter and mad at us. And to Joe, he was funny, you know.
Well, and he was cutting Billy Yates songs.
Oh yeah, he's cutting.
Hey,
Good
Billy,
stuff.
like,
yeah,
you know Billy.
yeah, I know Billy. I've cut.
But I
Billy's
mean,
stuff over the
he
years.
had record deals at that point. They were trying to get him out. He was on Curb for a little bit. He was on Sony for a little bit. And anybody that follows my music knows that I cut a song of his called Flowers that I still think his version's 1,000 times better than mine.
Such a good
Just
song.
amazing, amazing, amazing song. But he Jones would like go out of his way to go find stuff and
Absolutely.
be like, and I mean, even going back to the beginning of his career, if you guys ever get a chance, you want to sit down, you want to read a biography by someone about themselves, go check out And I Live to Tell It All.
Yeah,
It's awesome, and it really, again, the end is not the end. The end of the book is not the end.
There was a lot left.
But it's so cool, like hearing him go, yeah, the songs that we were cutting when we cut Drinking Around White Lining. When he cut White Lining, that was like a B-side for everybody else.
I loved what just happened.
I know,
I
you
had to like
Sing
run
it.
through it in my head. I know, I'm sorry. But he said like his manager at the time was also his bass player, and he was playing upright bass. And so if you, yeah.
Yeah.
He said he played it so many damn times that he had to tape his fingers because his fingers were breaking open from playing upright. And those were like songs that he went and found that everybody was like, oh, these are like the lesser songs for the record, and he made those into hits because nobody would pitch him the best songs because he was new and trying to get started.
Yeah, but George could sing a freaking phone book and make
Yeah.
magic out of it. I mean, he could do things with his voice that a lot of people couldn't do. And I mean, he was intimidating as a young artist coming in, trying to sing some. George's range was like tremendous. I mean, it was really hard to cop a lot of that stuff as a young artist when you're just learning to sing. I mean, it's rangy stuff.
I'm not even going to say anything because I'm just looking at you going,
My
yeah.
favorite George Jones memory, we'd been going to meet and greet, and you learn to protect yourself because George thought it was really funny to assault you. You'd be walking along, man, everything be good. You'd be talking about it, going to meet and greet, and he'd just backhand you right, bap, whap, take a bow, son. And you learn to walk around like this. You know, you block yourself at all times because he's coming after you.
So George Jones would backhand you in the nuts. Is
Yes,
what you're trying to tell me.
absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a rite of passage, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Red Bellies in ninth grade.
Is it weird that is it weird I'm jealous of that? Like I kind of wanted to get hit a little bit now.
It's weird to be jealous of that, but it's a thing.
It's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't nobody unless you've been sacked in the nuts by George Jones.
Oh man.
That's great. That's
I
phenomenal.
also thought those words would never come out of my mouth. That's fine.
Well, there you go.
Is there an artist that you wish you had an opportunity to play with that you never got
Oh,
the
Keith
opportunity
Whitley.
to?
Keith was gone.
Yeah.
Keith died in 88.
89.
89, and I came to Nashville in 90, and that whole time period right there, Keith was a huge influence on me. And then you got to think about 89. That's what kicked it all off. You had Clint Black that came out, you had Vince Gill that came out, you had Mark Chestnut, Alan Jackson, Travis Tritt, Garth Brooks. Those were the guys. The 89 was the catalyst of everything that followed. And I knew when all that music came out in 89, I was playing in a circuit band in Louisiana, and I'm like, it's time to go to Nashville. It's time to go right now. And I came in the fall of 90, and just everything just started moving. You could feel the energy in town. It was such a great time to be in Nashville back then.
Well, McGraw came then too.
Yeah, McGraw was here when I got here.
He came in 89. He said, and I don't know if he made this up, which I don't think he did. But you know, I mean, sometimes you embellish.
Yeah.
But not stretch the truth, just embellish.
As the years go on, the
Yeah.
story
But
gets
I do.
Legend is more important.
Yes,
But for
of
what this
course.
was, I think this was true. He said he was driving to Nashville when he found out Keith Whitley died.
Probably so. Wow. You know, Tim and I met early on because I would run the little competition circuit here in Nashville. They had these little jams and stuff they did, and I would go sing on stage. And Tim and I got to be friends. The first time I ever got on a tour bus was with Tim McGraw, and he had a show in Shreveport, Louisiana. And we got high as hell.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, there it is.
Stories from the road.
I like it. No,
Always
now they're
good.
getting good. Now they're getting good.
Yes.
We've already we went from getting tapped in the nuts by George Jones to
Underage
getting
drinking.
high
Oh,
with
I
Tim
got a
McGraw.
lot more,
Right?
man. You don't even want to know.
It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Tracy,
All right.
I got a question for you. So I'm a big NBA fan.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City Thunder just drafted 2 different people named Jalen Williams, play the same spot. They're fighting for superiority. I know he's your friend, but did you ever have like a tiff with Tracy Byrd of who was the best Tracy?
You know, we have been really good friends for such a long time, and I think he was a little bit mad at me early on because this is another thing a lot of people don't know. Byrd was playing at a club called Cutters in Beaumont, and Randy Boudreaux, he knew Randy Boudreaux.
Oh, good
Byrd
Lord.
was playing alibis in the clubs before I ever cut it. And he cut it for his first album, and it didn't make the record. And then Boudreaux pitched it to me, and I had a massive hit off of it. So there was friction. All the people that knew Byrd from Beaumont were mad at me, thought I took Byrd's song. So there was that stuff that was built in a little bit early on, but we became great friends over the years.
Little Tracy tiff going on. I like
Yeah.
that.
I have a funny Randy Boudreaux story.
Don't we all?
Well, and by the way, has done a complete 360. At least the last time I saw him.
Yes. I mean,
Is
I
very-
think he's preaching and stuff.
Yeah,
that guy.
he's very cleaned up. But Wild Man back in the day, great songwriter, and he had this song called "Secondhand Smoke." Is like, I think the hook was. I mean, this is something that is 17 years ago, and this is the way my brain works. It was like making me choke that secondhand smoke off of her old flame. Was the hook. He's making me choke that secondhand smoke off of my old flame. Like that was the hook, and it was a tempo song, and he had played it for me when I was down at Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that song's cool as hell. And he goes, well, you know, and he was kind of like big timing me. He was like, yeah, maybe one day. and so then I got to town, and it took me a long time to have a hit. It took me like 4 years on the label.
Yeah.
So I made a whole first record, put out 2 singles, both of them tanked. Made another record with James and Julian, and put it out. James Stroud produced it. Julian engineered it. Put this record out. Go work the first single. It tanks. Put out the 4th one, and we're like, if this doesn't work, I'm probably off. I can't believe I'm still on the label at this point. It ended up being my first number 1. But there was a random night on Demumbrian in Nashville. There was a bar that used to be there that's not there anymore. And Jared Neiman was playing, and he goes, hey, man, do you have another guitar? I left my guitar on the bus. I need one. And I'm like, yeah, I'll run one down. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just playing an acoustic show. I was like, I'll join you. And he goes, why? And I was like, because I'm bored. And so went down, and it was, I'm trying to think of what the name of the bar was, because it's been gone for a while. Anyway, I can't remember. But we're in there. There's maybe 6 people in the bar. So it's me and Jared sitting on stage for no reason, just playing songs acoustic. He was signed to Category 5 Records. You remember that?
No.
Okay. Well, it was around for about that long. So he signed to that label, and I was still on RCA, and I hadn't had a hit yet. And I played Getting You Home, which ended up being my first number 1. And Randy Boudreaux was in there. And I was like, hey, this is a new one. None of you guys have heard this yet. It's not even out. But I wrote this with a couple buddies of mine, Camp Blazing, Corey Batten. Play the song. And I'm about halfway through, and I'm playing the turn, and he comes up, and he goes, drops a 20 in there, and he goes, there's $20, because you're never going to have a hit if you keep cutting your own shitty songs and don't cut anything by other people that really know how to write them.
Oof.
And walked away. And I was like, okay. And he gave up to me years later and apologized. He was like, "I'm so sorry. I remember doing that."
Yeah,
he goes, "That was messed up."
That was pretty messed up.
I was like, "Well, you timed it right because it was the first one that actually worked."
Funny how that works out, huh?
Oh, what a damn!
I haven't heard his name in a long time.
He came and saw me. I was in Lake Charles a few months ago, and he actually came to the show. So I see. Actually,
That's awesome.
It was the first time I'd seen him in line. He looks good. He missed a couple of teeth, but other than that, he's all right.
Okay.
Man, we've hit dental wear. We
All
are
right.
What else can we talk about?
I don't know.
See, that wasn't Bear. That was the semi truck going off the road right there. Is what that was.
He's a natural on those buttons already.
Yeah.
He's got it. He's got
I
it.
think we should
Just
have
find
him
one
here
you like,
forever.
stay with it.
Yeah.
Just stay
I might
with
just
it.
stay over here from now on.
Story time with
Yeah.
Tracy needs to be a regular appearance.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we didn't even scratch the surface yet.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a future plan.
No, there's
We
there's
need to
a
do
lot
it.
more stories
We
as
need
we're
some-
being.
We can get some sort of alcohol company to sponsor this.
No, we need to do a quad after dark with Tracy Lawrence.
well,
Oh, gosh,
that's
and
happening.
John
That's
Stone.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that would be great.
Well, by the way, to anyone that's just now listening to this for the first time, if you're wondering why we're having so much fun, Ryan, where do they go to watch this?
Oh, you can go on YouTube, by the way, Tracy.
I love YouTube,
People
yes.
can watch you and us and Josh over here, who made a producer panel, which I like here in the studio. Wave to the folks. Fine folks, Josh. It is youtube.com/C/the quad with Chris Young. Again, youtube.com/C/the quad with Chris Young. Subscribe, rate, review, comment.
Subscribe.
That was Vegas hanging on to me after I just returned.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, boy.
You went to Vegas this weekend. Why?
For a dadchler party. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I
They're
have
new
not.
now.
No. Okay.
What is this?
Would have been nice back in your day if we had a dadchler party. So basically, it's like a bachelor party, but it's your final big blowout getaway with your buddies before you become a new dad.
You have a child.
So you're already married.
So he's already married. A baby girl is due in September, and so 4 of us went out to Vegas for his dadchler party, which ended up being a really good time. But I am absolutely feeling it. 4 days in Vegas, way too long.
Yeah,
Way
three
too
days.
long.
Way too
3
long.
days is the max in Vegas.
You want to fly in, you want that night, day,
And then out.
day, and then fly. That's it.
Yeah.
3's the max for sure. Two's.
You really want 48 hours.
Yeah.
Two is the sweet spot.
Less would have been real nice for my liver. So,
Yeah.
but really good time. Really good time. Visited the Doghouse Saloon Sportsbook out there in Vegas, which was great. Little
Yep.
Loser. So had a little Nashville influence out there. Ran into our good buddy Steve, who was there right outside of Doghouse too. Steve Ford, shout out to him. So
Nice.
So yeah, it was a really good time. I'm sure you've had a time or two in Vegas. No?
Yeah.
You have a good Vegas story for us?
I don't really have any good Vegas stories.
Oh.
I remember playing blackjack with T. Roy one night out there after an award show, and we sat up and watched the sun come up, and we were way up. I mean, we were thousands of dollars rocking, and then they brought this very voluptuous dealer in, and she absolutely destroyed us.
Took all the money?
That and then some. I mean, I think I lost about $3,000 that night.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
they brought the ringer in, son, and we just couldn't get up and move. We couldn't, that's what they do to you. out
You were
there.
in a trance because of all the cards on the table.
That's
huh?
what it was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
That's what it was.
Cards.
It was a 2-deck system.
Yeah. Two Ds, 2-deck system.
Oh man, so good.
Oh yeah.
All right. Normally we do a what are you listening to, but I feel like we've covered everything.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, let's talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Come on.
Oh, here we go.
I got so entranced by all of it, I couldn't turn it off.
I will move, and you two can sit next to each other. That's like,
Did you know that she is trying to get the verdict
yeah.
expunged because she says that there was a fake juror?
Juror number 15.
Yep. And like you think that one person would have made a difference for you? No, everyone does. No one believes you. You're
She's a
dumb.
liar.
She's a
horrible
horrible liar.
scheming, lying, backstabbing.
My
This
dog
was all-
stepped on a bee.
did y'all just become best friends?
We did. I got so wrapped up in it, I couldn't turn it off. It's like watching a train wreck. You couldn't look away.
I'm ready
and
for the
you-
Tracy
yeah.
Haley podcast, just the two of them.
And then he makes a record with Jeff Beck. He's just like,
awesome.
Oh,
"Man,
and
I'm
two of the
just gonna go
songs
do
are
this."
very much, you can tell about Amber Heard saying, "You won't
I
get a
think you've
dime
had
of my
enough.
effing money," blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, you go, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, did he actually Did he actually get his job back with Disney? Did they actually give him the deal?
I don't know. I see different things. I'm not
I
sure if he
keep
has or
seeing
not.
random reports that allegedly blank possibly.
There's no way they're going to pay him $301 million. I mean,
That was the figure I saw. It was 301 with
I don't know.
5
I think
films.
they would.
I don't buy
I think
it.
they would.
They have a lot of butt kissing to do
I'm telling you,
I
for
wouldn't
the
money.
fans.
they're trying to strike while the iron's hot with Johnny. Get another Pirates of the Caribbean out
They
because I'll
better.
tell you what, that thing will explode in the
Oh,
theaters
that
the
will
minute
be
that comes out.
huge.
Oh boy.
And I think Beck ought to do the soundtrack for it.
Oh yes.
There's no way that movie is going to crap the bed.
I see what you did there.
I got it. That was nice. That was nice.
Scamber turd.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. Now,
Let's see.
Sports.
Foul.
there you go.
Dealer's choice.
Man, dealer's choice. Do you want to stay here for the rest of this?
No, we keep moving. Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, well, here we go. If you care about Wimbledon, Djokovic won.
You should, by the way.
Look, I tried to watch that match. I couldn't.
I don't think it's.
He is the first person that I've ever simultaneously, and by the way, I'm talking about Kyrgios, who's Australian, and he's known for being fiery and kind of the guy that yells at the umps and the line judges, and he's constantly mouthing off. It jumped the shark a little bit for me. Like it went too far. It was annoying. Like I went from going, hey, maybe someone other than the three guys that normally win this is going to win one, so I'll root for the underdog, to me going, man, stop talking.
Right. Just put him away. Yeah.
Here's what I want to tell you, though, because I think we will look back in years, kind of like watching LeBron. We say once he hangs it up, we'll look back and realize his greatness. Those three, the big three, Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, have won 62 of the past 75 men's Grand Slam titles and 20 of the past 22. And they've won 17 of 19 Wimbledons. We are witnessing and in the center of greatness. And they're nearing the end of their careers. And so I'm savoring every single time one of these guys wins one, because
By the way,
10 years from now, we won't see this anymore.
as someone who is an artist who hopes that I continue to, which I didn't even reference this. I just got so lost in the sauce of Tracy and Lawrence being here. I did. End of a Bar, sitting at 7
Yes.
this week. Like I want to continue to have hits forever, right?
Amen.
That doesn't happen. So you do have to appreciate that when that moment is occurring, especially in sports, especially when it's so dominant. It's three guys that are just they're taking over everything. My only thing is, like, every now and then you want to see an underdog be victorious. I couldn't even root for him. That's how annoying he was on the court.
Did he win?
No, he lost. Djokovic won.
But he was like yelling the whole match. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched the match.
Did you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. But I was
Was he
also
weird?
sitting there
Was he
rooting
just-
for Djokovic.
Was he just unhappy?
anything and everything.
Yeah.
He was
I-
yelling
and I
at
think
himself. He was yelling at
Potentially a
somebody
tactic,
that was talking to it. Dude, I get it, but when it's the whole match, those are 3-hour matches.
Yeah, that'd be really annoying.
I was just
It's annoying.
I was ticked off Nadal had to withdraw because he got injured, because that would have been another Djokovic Nadal battle. I mean, that's what I want to see.
But you
Greatness
know
against
why?
greatness.
You know why Nadal withdrew is Nadal knew that even hurt, he would probably be Kyrgios. Is that how you pronounce his name, by the way?
Kyrgios, yeah. Like Cheerios.
Yeah. Kyrgios.
Yeah.
hungry.
Sure, we're gonna go with Cheerios.
Cheerios,
Yeah.
Cheerios,
But even though he's Australian, anyway, a lot going on there. A lot to unpack. I wanted to see him step up and be a great player that I know he can be, and instead, all he's known for is his attitude. And I want to brush it off, but after watching him act that way for 3 hours, it was like, that was a lot, man.
What's your favorite sport to watch, Tracy? Do you have a favorite you like to kick back and relax? Is it a little Sunday golf? Is it
Football.
tennis?
It's
Football?
college
Okay.
football. That's
Yes,
primarily it. And
yes.
I do
Love
like,
that.
I like golf too. I do like to watch golf on TV. I mean, I love the game a lot.
But there is nothing, and I tend to fight for this all the time. There's nothing better than a college football Saturday. In my opinion.
Absolutely.
Nothing better.
And more so than the NFL for me nowadays. You know, as it's kind of turned into free agency and all of it's changed. I love watching
so is college football, to be fair.
And the college baseball was great this year, too. I mean, my Arkansas Razorbacks made it a long way.
I'll get the hell out of here.
Tennessee fell apart, man, and I know some of the kids
What
on
else
that
is
team. You know, it happens. Yeah.
Texas.
Hook 'em.
Yeah.
Hook 'em.
All my teams suck, so it's fine.
Yeah. All her teams do suck.
They suck so bad. I overheard you say something about the Packers earlier, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm a Bears fan. Sad, very, very sad. Very sad.
So
Bears
that friendship
fan.
that just birthed
Now
is now
it's
broken
good.
apart.
It's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
You know that button you keep hitting, the bear noise? That's mine. Because I'm an
Dick
angry
bucket
bear.
Sound.
Yeah.
Very much an angry bear.
Man.
NBA update. There really is none.
There's really nothing going on right now.
Nothing's going on.
We're waiting for what's going to happen.
That could change at any moment, though.
It could, but right
the minute that Kevin Durant gets traded, then Kyrie Irving goes. But
or
Kyrie
vice
can't-
versa.
Kyrie can't go until Kevin goes, I think.
I think Kyrie will go first.
Really?
I do, yeah. I think they reached out to the Lakers and they wanted LeBron, AD, and 5 first-round picks for Kevin
No,
Durant.
I mean, that's not going to happen.
They reached
That's
out to the
stupid.
Minnesota Timberwolves and wanted Cat, Edwards, and 4 first-round. Kevin Durant is going to be sitting there for a while, but I do think that they move off of Kyrie Irving.
I
sooner.
did want to ask you one thing, Josh, because I was in Vegas for the start of NBA Summer League, which let me tell you, and I stayed at the Resorts World, and that was the official hotel of the NBA. So all the players were there. Ran into Max Strus and Gabe Minson and Tyler Hero, which was pretty cool. Geeked up as a Miami Heat fan to see them.
Oh, my God.
When did the NBA Summer League become a thing? Because I remember back in 03 when I wanted to watch the LeBron, Carmelo, Bosh and Wade draft, you couldn't watch that on TV. Now it's everywhere. I mean, every single game is played.
It's on network television.
Yeah,
You can
think
watch
it became a thing because there's nothing going on right now in sports.
I think that's part of it. I do think that that's part of it. I also think it is sort of the NBA's dominance over Major League Baseball now, where we have kind of shifted the power structure a little bit towards basketball instead.
Yeah, I mean,
feel like
baseball is kind of...
am I the guy that was sitting at home watching Pacers, Orlando Magic Summer League games? Yeah, I was. I was that
It's
guy.
hard to get into baseball till after the trade deadline. There's just too many games.
After the All-Star break, right?
After the All-Star break. So that's when you connect with
And
that.
that's
Basketball's
so
over by
and
then.
that's so
I'll tell you-
frustrating.
I'll tell you right now, for the first time in my life, I know that I watched Summer League games. Mm-hmm. While I was on the bus.
Yeah.
I was at West Coast. I'm like, cool, there's basketball on.
I was watching Chet versus Kenny Lofton Jr.
And I was watching,
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal's kid.
Yeah, Sharif. Yeah.
I was like, here
You
we
know
go.
how bad it is this time of year when you just turn on and watch bowling on ESPN. That's when it gets bad.
First of all,
I actually was
first of
watching
all,
bowling yesterday, and I think we decided to go bowling tonight.
Hey, I do have to bring this up. Cornhole.
Super fun to watch.
The best cornhole player looks like Luke Combs. I'm not kidding. Like the #1 guy in the world, he looks
How do you know
just
it's
like
not
Luke
Luke
Combs. Well, when it came on at first, I was like, maybe it's a celebrity thing. Like maybe Luke is playing cornhole.
Well, and it's so what's tough right now, because I'm still a huge baseball fan. Ohtani had 2 games back to back where he threw for 13 strikeouts and the next game hit 8 RBIs. And do we care, or did we hear about it? No, we do not.
Nobody cares.
Which is crazy.
As somebody-
If this was 1998 and he was doing this, he would be the biggest star in the United States. He would have commercials. We would care
Very true.
everything about watching
Yeah.
the Angels. But right now, we just don't
Nobody
care
cares.
about this
Nobody
sport.
cares.
It's
As somebody
crazy.
who's employed by a baseball team and does some broadcasts for them, we are in the heat of the season, and the Yankees, by the way, are at a point right now where you're talking about 27 Yankees type of off to a start. I mean, they're that good. And still, baseball is a little slow. And still, they're struggling for ratings. It's still,
There's
they're
no
fighting
underdog
with
story in baseball right now either. I mean, since the Cubs won, has there been a huge thing? Because the Cubs were the underdogs for the very long time, and that season was very popular for baseball.
Well, that season was not very popular. The end of that season.
That World
was
Series
very
was
Oh,
very
well, see, I thought I watched so much baseball. during
Well,
that
I'm
season.
because you're a Cubs fan.
Exactly.
So the
But a
city
lot
of
people-
Chicago might have inordinate amount of baseball watching, but
Since we're on the topic, I just do want to give a couple of notes because the All-Star selections and rosters did come out. Shohei Ohtani, back-to-back years, by the way, as a pitcher and a hitter.
Sports.
Yes, pitcher and a hitter. This, just want to talk about throwback here. So Judge and Stanton, the first Yankees teammates to start an All-Star game in the outfield since Winfield and Henderson in 1988.
whoa.
That goes to show you how, I mean, that's kind of crazy with how many great Yankees we've had over the past, especially outfielders. So that's pretty nuts there. And then in the NL, okay.
Movie
Movie time.
back to the movie. That's how much people care about baseball right now. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool.
Are you sure?
No, that's cool. Hey, Wilson and William Contreras, first brothers to start on the same All-Star team since Roberto and Sandy Alomar in 92. So that's pretty cool, too. A couple of All-Star.
Yep. Here we go. All right. Spiderhead was the movie on Netflix, rated R, 2022, sci-fi thriller, hour and 47 minutes. 54% of Google users like this movie.
It seems high.
40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Seems about right there.
Two inmates form a connection while grappling with their past in a state-of-the-art penitentiary run by a brilliant visionary who experiments on his subjects with mind-altering drugs. This movie sucked.
This was
I'm
not
just
good
gonna be
at
honest.
all. It was
This
not
is the
good
first
at all.
time that we've watched one in a while that I was just like, this movie's terrible. I get what they're going for. They're trying to be very ingenious with the escape and the different effects of the drugs.
Hit
that
the
they
pink
use.
button.
Yeah.
So do you like really bad movies?
Wait.
Do you ever?
Sorry.
It's all good. I felt like they were trying to take a page out of the movie Old,
Oh my God! It was so that
It was so on top
They
of
were
it.
trying to do old, but they didn't even get
but
there.
it wasn't good.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I think
hated
Tracy
this
really
movie.
liked that spoiler. Did you like the spoiler? That's Josh, by the way.
I do. I like all that. That's
Yeah,
great. I love
we
it.
created most of that in like half a day. In the studio.
So do you ever find yourself getting caught up in a really bad movie that you just can't turn off? Because I've got two of the worst movies ever.
Oh, please
we
tell
got
us.
a list from Tracy.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a movie called Rubber. It's about a possessed tire that rolls
up.
around and kills people, and there's
Shut
a plot
up.
to it. It's the greatest bad movie you will ever see. It rolls around and it'll start rumbling, and then people die.
What?
It's awesome. It's called Rubber.
It's called Rubber.
And then the greatest, they actually made a sequel to this one. It was banned in the United States. It's called Human Centipede.
Yes. All right. We all know what that is. We all know what that is. All right. There is a. Do you know who Patton Oswalt is? The comedian.
Yeah, the comedian. Yeah.
So he does a stand-up bit where he's talking about. He's like, yeah, I write, screenplays, and he goes, and sometimes I get really upset because I see things come out that actually got delivered and finished, and I'm like, how in the hell did that happen? Because one of two things happened: either that person went, this is it. I've got it. And they knew the whole way that this movie was going to be great. Or they realized it sucked and kept going. And he goes, and I have no idea. He goes, but I looked up a movie the other day and it's called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats People. And he goes, it's an actual movie. And I immediately was like, he's making this up for a bit. And I looked it up. It's a real movie. It was like all filmed in one day. And it's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, like, those I can at least get into because I'm like, they're intentionally B movies.
It's kind of
right?
like Amber Heard's new movie. It's called Succubus.
Hot take. Hot take.
I love him so much. Yes.
Anyway, all right, just quick around the room. Did anyone like this movie?
This was not at all what I thought this movie was going to be.
I thought it was going to be back and forth between Miles Teller and Chris Hemsworth, and it was not.
No. And, well, I liked seeing Chris Hemsworth as, like, a nerd.
No,
That was
you
cool.
like seeing Chris Hemsworth, period.
True. But I was also cool seeing him as a nerd, but everything, the whole, like, sex stuff going on, I'm like, what in
was
the
weird.
actual hell is happening in this
weird.
movie?
It was weird.
Just
Just a no.
Just a no.
Just a no.
It was
It's
just
a no,
There's
right?
not. I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting the whole time, like, oh, it's going to get good because I like Miles Teller. I like Chris Hemsworth. Theoretically,
Hey, guess what? They escape at the end. There you go.
Theoretically, I'm like,
Chris Hemsworth doesn't.
No.
sort of. He does,
Sort of.
but then doesn't. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
He dies.
Don't watch this movie. Basically, what we're telling you is, do not. If you missed it, if you didn't follow along, don't
Hey,
do
look,
it.
don't watch this movie. I'm sorry we recommended this movie. This movie is terrible. Wow. Sorry,
Oh,
Chris
wait,
Hemsworth.
so wait, does that mean we have reached the week where we actually get to watch the good Chris Hemsworth movie.
Yes, we do.
It's Thor. It's
Love
Thor
and
week.
Thunder. Love and
All right,
Thunder.
all
That is
right.
this week.
I don't want to do a spoiler, but I've already watched it, and it is
All right.
a movie. It's a movie.
I'm
It's
a
a
bit
movie.
mad
And-
because I waited, and my drummer actually went and saw it while we were out in West Coast, and I didn't go because I was going to go with you guys.
I would
haven't
go
gone
again.
yet,
So I'm
I would
kinda
go
mad.
again.
You will go again?
I'll go again. No
All
question.
right. Good.
No question.
All right.
All right.
It's happening.
We're in.
It's happening.
We've reached the
Is
hot
it
take
top
portion.
right?
Bottom red one.
You guys.
No.
the last
No,
one.
the other one.
This one. There we go.
Is that fire?
Hot take.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Okay.
That's
I
you
got it.
too, isn't it?
That's also Josh.
Man of many voices.
This week's hot take brought to you by Josh Gleave.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the hot take.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts. A delicious treat. We've all partake. Is there anyone here that has not had a Pop-Tart?
I've had a Pop-Tart before in my life.
I've had probably too
Quite
many
a fan.
Pop-Tarts.
Quite a fan.
And I realized this was a debate going on the internet. Cold versus hot Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
And it made me sit there because I've had it both ways. Which way is the actual best way?
That's what your hot take is, so why don't you tell us?
And I've settled on a very simple and easy answer. It's hot. It is meant to be in a toaster or it's the pop of the Pop-Tart is because you're putting it in the toaster and it pops up. So the Pop-Tart is meant to be hot, and that is how I like to consume it. I also love to consume it in an air fryer. It's delicious in an air fryer. Throw it in there.
No.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That is a 21st century.
out.
Yeah.
Pop-Tart.
Welcome to the new time. So I will choose hot Pop-Tarts every time.
You know how many times I've burnt my mouth and face on the damn jelly after cooking it?
Face?
Yeah, because like
How
like
are you eating these things?
What? What are you doing with your
What are you
Pop-Tarts?
doing?
No,
What's happening?
Like when you cook it, it gets like crunchy. So you take a bite and it falls apart, and the jelly part just like falls on your
No,
chin.
I'm a
You have
human
the
being
same
that eats
problem
it.
with bagel bites or pizza boat rolls.
I'm
So
so confused.
you're going cold, I assume.
Yes, I don't have the patience to wait to eat it warm, so I will always just grab them right out of the box and eat them.
All right. Shout out to my mom. I'm so sorry when we were very, very broke and you were a single parent that I blew up her microwave because I tried to put
Oh boy, it had the wrapping, didn't it?
s'mores
Oh boy.
Pop-Tarts when they started using the foil, because I'd instead of like getting a plate, dirtying a plate, I would take the two Pop-Tarts out of the little wrapper that was it wasn't like paper, but it was like white with
Yeah.
like wax paper on the inside. So I would put them on top of that, heat them up, and eat them. And I tried to do that with foil, not using my brain, and electrified the inside of the microwave.
I did that with an Arby's sandwich once.
Happened.
Yep.
Don't put foil in the microwave for anyone listening to this. I know that seems like a very obvious thing, but as a kid, I just went, I've done this before. Put it in there and fried the microwave. So I'm
Love
definitely
and
going
thunder
hot.
right there.
I did not use the toaster. I should have used the toaster. Pop-Tarts. I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'm going to go hot.
They're just more delicious. The frosting and the inside.
Do you want Tracy to be the tiebreaker here at the end, or?
Hot.
Oh,
Man, I agree. Absolutely.
Snap call,
Concur,
snap
without
call.
a doubt.
wow. Okay,
Snap call.
right out of the gate. Just okay. So, I am a very big Pop-Tart fan, and I especially love Pop-Tarts for a dessert, not necessarily for breakfast. I'll eat
They
them
are a great
after-
dessert.
after a meal, which leads me to the reason why cold Pop-Tarts are better. There is much less work to be done. You take it right out of the box.
Sounds like
or
laziness to
pop
me.
it open, and you
I
munch
know
on
it's
it.
super hard to
It's
like
so good.
throw it in the toaster for 30 seconds.
The Florida people oddly like
It
cold
was hot everywhere else.
Pop-Tarts.
We didn't need hot Pop-Tarts.
That is very true. That is a point for you, Bear. Very true. Now, the other thing is, if you have a hot Pop-Tart, it is a lot more difficult to start breaking it up into pieces. Because then it starts to get on your hands. It's hot. I like the cold Pop-Tart. You just break it up into pieces and you.
So should Dairy Queen put one in a blizzard?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Hang on.
This changes everything.
I need Dairy Queen and or Sonic to make a Pop-Tart Blizzard.
Nobody's done that yet.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, what is it at Sonic? It's the
The Heath bar, the Heath Blizzard.
They've got the Nerds one now, and then
They've got Oreo. They've got
yeah.
Reese's. Yeah, we need it. We need a Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
So which one? The strawberry, the chocolate, the cinnamon?
Oh no, you go
bring
s'more.
up,
You go
bring
s'more.
up a very good point on that. According to our friends at Delish.com,
Oh, God.
the top-ranked Pop-Tart flavors are as follow. Number 10, pumpkin pie, limited edition.
Seasonal.
Get out of here.
Number 9, unfrosted strawberries.
Pass.
Yeah, don't like that.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Who?
Delish.
Who
Who
made
are
the
you?
list?
Number 8, cookies and cream.
Delicious.
I love
Great.
the cookies and
They
cream
are great.
Pop-Tart. Number 7, cherry.
No.
Number 6, s'mores.
Okay, I'm really interested to know what the top 5 are because that is
now,
elite.
We are into the top 5 flavors of Pop-Tarts, according to our friends at Delish.com. At number 5, raspberry.
No,
I like raspberry.
At number 4, wild berry.
that's good.
Wildberry
Yeah.
slaps.
All
That
right,
would be great.
into the
That
top
slaps.
3.
That slaps.
At number 3, brown sugar cinnamon.
I
never liked that.
that was always
Okay,
my favorite growing
I feel
up.
like brown sugar cinnamon is like if you love those flavors, you really love that Pop-Tart. If you don't, you don't at all.
Not a
I
fan.
loved the cinnamon one. Loved it.
Is apple number 1?
At number 2 is blueberry.
I love the blue.
And what's number 1?
And the most delicious and
Strawberry.
best Pop-Tart
No,
flavor of all time, according
I
to
think
Delish.com,
Tracy's right.
is frosted strawberry.
Get out of here.
That is the best one. Can we? I'm pretty sure we can all agree on one thing. They need to frost all the edges.
You
I would
like
love to see
frosted
the
edges.
frosting go to the edge.
Why are we taking away from the frosting? Is there
Why?
a frosting shortage? This is not a supply chain issue that is happening in 2022.
I think we can
need
also all
frosting all the
agree-
way to the edge.
We can also all agree the mini Pop-Tarts that are like
Terrible.
terrible.
Horrible.
It's just
Trash.
Now, to
gross
the people-
dough with like
And by the way, don't come in here with your. I'm trying not to swear. Don't come in here with your toaster strudels are better. Get the hell out.
Out.
Get
You
the
know
hell
what
out
I
of here.
say to those people? You find out who your friends are.
Oh, God. All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening to The Quad with Chris Young. As always, I'm Chris from Josh, Haley, Ryan, and our buddy Tracy Lawrence.
Thank y'all for having me today.
Hey,
It's been a
go
blast.
listen to Tracy's music right now all day, every